And Adam's like, wait, how are we getting him back this way? And Eli's like, I have a plan, don't worry.
He's scheming.
And then we're with Holly J. is like talking to Fiona, and she's like, thanks for being such a good friend. And Fiona's like, I'll always be a friend no matter what happens, which is very sweet. And then Holly J hangs up, and then she calls Declan and gets his voicemail and like breaks up with him over the voicemail. And she's like, if you're with some slut right now and da 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 da, like this isn't working.
Up until that point, but that point, it was a good speech, and then it kind of unraveled.
She says something about like how the distance is. I don't remember.
And how she like kind of hitched her wagon to his.
Yeah. She makes some like
speech.
real points about what things that are wrong with their relationship, not even related to this recent like maybe he's cheating on me development.
Yeah,
but
she does say something funny before when she hears like the voicemail message, and she's like, "Robot lady, I know how to leave a message."
But then, real quick, we go back to Eli and Adam, who are browsing Canada's Most Wanted page because Eli is going to make Fitz a fake ID with the name of someone on the Canada's Most Wanted page, and it turns out to be some guy who's wanted for arson or something.
This is a very elaborate plan.
It's very elaborate.
It's crazy. Also, like, it's really... Again, hashtag maybe it's different. I don't know what Canadian IDs are like, but, like, you cannot make, like, a U.S. driver's license, I don't think in any state in Photoshop. When the New York IDs used to be paper, my friend used to make them, and they were actually, he, like, got away with it sometimes. But, like, especially now that they changed it to plastic, it's really hard, and they put all, like, the holographic things underneath.
I feel like you have to have, like, one of those, like, laminate, like... ID makers from like a DMV. Like I feel like I knew people, I didn't know people, but I like heard of people who, the people who would make the IDs had like the actual like device or machine or whatever, like the printer that would like actually make them like the right stock of ID, but like it would still like not be like totally accurate, but it'd be closer.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't trust this 16-year-old to Photoshop it up.
But maybe, like, at this point in time in 2010, I'm sure it was easier to get away with it because technology, even, like, for making real IDs, was not as advanced.
That's true.
Like, and, like, when I had a Missouri ID, when I went out of state, people thought it was fake because it looked really shitty because it just looked like a bad Photoshop job, but it was just, that was what it looked like. And I'm sure there are a lot of other states that have similar, like, shitty looking IDs or did in the past. Like, we're still in 2010 right now, so.
That's true. And that is when my friend was making his weird Photoshop IDs. So I stand corrected.
Maybe it tracks.
I'm just looking at this with 2017 eyes.
Yeah, it's definitely harder now, especially because whenever you go into any bar, they have, like, a handheld scanner thing.
Yeah.
It's, like, the norm now. At least in New York City it is.
Yeah. But they're also, like, planting seeds for the Adam stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I don't remember what happens really, but he's really noticing details on like all these people's faces.
Oh yeah,
and Eli's like, "You're really good at this," and he's like, "No, I'm not."
But then we're at the dot, and it's like, oh, there's Peter, and then like, oh wait, okay, I guess Holly J goes to the dot. I don't remember why, but then Declan is there.
She's supposed to meet Fiona for coffee before school.
Okay. But Declan is there, and it's like, surprise, I'm here. And I was like, did he get her voicemail?
That was my question as well.
Because that was the end of part 1. But then part 2 picks up right away, and he's like, I'm surprising you. That's why I told you not to come to New York. And she's like, oh, did you get my voicemail? And he's like, oh, no. And she's like, oh, well, I might have jumped to conclusions. But I liked that she was like, oh, I left you kind of a shitty voicemail that, like, was based on my assumptions, and he listens to it. Like, I'm glad that we didn't go through the whole, like, he listens to the voicemail and then he gets mad and it's like a whole thing about the voicemail.
He has a very good sense of humor about the whole thing.
He's being a very good sport about it.
He is. And they're just like, and I'm still very on board for them at this point. And she's like, yeah, she's just like, you know, so happy.
Yeah. He doesn't care because they're still adorable. But I'm like, but I think they still have some things to talk about. It's weird that he's being this cool about it. And she did talk about some real shit in there, but we're just glossing over it. I don't know.
Glossing over it. And then they're in a cab for some reason, and the cab driver keeps looking at them in his rearview mirror, which made me very uncomfortable.
And Declan's like worried about Holly J, and Holly J is like, I need a job, things are hard, money, and he's like, well, what if I helped you with money? I'm like, that's weird. Don't do that, Holly J.
It feels insane. It just
feels very Pretty Woman, and I don't like it.
It's gross. I don't like it at all. But she looks so happy when she's, saying goodbye to him.
Because it's just, a quick fix to her problem, even though it's really weird and not great.
Yeah. And then Wesley is showing Dave their music, and he somehow does not hear how bad
I know. He's like, it's great. I'm like, you're delusional. But Wesley and Connor know that it's terrible.
Yeah.
And then the science teacher walks in and starts talking about something, and Wesley
He's talking about phantom limb syndrome.
I don't know.
For some reason. Also, side note, very attracted to this new science teacher.
What?
I don't know.
He looks like Wesley's older brother.
I don't know. The heart wants what the heart wants.
We've talked about your weird taste in men multiple times.
Listen. I have nothing to add to that. I know what I'm about, and I'm apparently about this new science teacher.
But then Wesley finds inspiration to use auto-tune in their music because Dave is so bad.
So bad.
And
Fiona and Holly J are talking, and Holly J is telling Fiona that Declan's going to start paying for her life.
And Fiona's like, that's weird.
It's weird.
And it's like, if Fiona thinks it's weird, then you should know it's very weird.
Yeah. It's just strange. And Fiona does talk about she and Declan eventually getting married, and she can be a kept woman like Fiona plans to be, I guess. And she's like, no thanks. I'm like, then Holly J, why are you taking this money now?
Yeah.
It's weird and gross.
It's weird. Then Eli drops off the criminal fake ID with Fitz, and Adam is like, so wait, how was he even how, now what's next? And Eli calls him young grasshopper or something, and it's cute, and I love it.
I love their friendship, but also why didn't he just give him a real fake ID and let it end there?
Yeah, then you wouldn't forget the revenge, just get him off your back.
He was so on board for that.
Yeah,
just let it end. He'll leave you alone. You don't need to have a weird fucking feud.
It's stupid.
Who cares? I don't know.
But then we're with.
Oh, and then Claire is goes up to Adam when Adam and Eli are done talking. She's like, what is he gonna do? And Adam's like, well, I don't know, bye, because Adam's a good friend. And Claire is like, fuck.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Then we're playing the song for Sav, which we now find out starts off with Dave saying, it's Dizzle with Whizzle and Kizzle. And I'm like, oh no.
I hate it. Dave is bad at
all
mouth things.
All right.
I couldn't think of a good way. I couldn't think of the right way to say that.
A broad category. Just speaking,
talking, singing, rapping,
probably kissing. I don't know.
Definitely can't whistle.
He probably can't roll his tongue like a taco. But Sav is listening and also knows that it's shit.
And then they play Dave the auto-tune, because this actually happens before.
Is this with the
thing. This happens before the ID, and then they play Dave the auto-tune, and Dave is like
later. Well, I don't know. I have Dizzle, Whizzle, Kizzle. Sav knows this is shit too. Then I have does Claire have a Slytherin bag note? And Claire's worried about Eli and trying to talk sense to Adam. Maybe that happened before. So I think we're jumbling up a bunch of shit.
We are.
Because we covered that Claire stuff already.
We did.
So yeah, so then it's oh my god, obvious auto-tune. And then he's like, what happened to my singing? Like, why does it sound weird?
My great singing.
And then he's like, what's wrong with he's like, they're like, we made it better with auto-tune. Like, they're all like very excited. They're like, oh, it's auto-tune. It's great. It's the hot new thing. Kesha's here now. And T-Pain, they introduce us to the world, essentially. I think they do say, like, you can be like T-Pain.
They do.
And then he's like, what's wrong with my singing? And then Connor's like, it's terrible.
Yeah,
like,
because Connor is the best.
It has no subtlety. And he's like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, it's really bad. Like, we made it better. And
duh.
And then he gets real defensive. And he's like, you guys are losers. I'm leaving. Bye. And it's like, fucking Dave.
Fucking Dave. And then Holly J gets back to her house. And she has a gift from Declan. And her mom's like, more shopping. And she's like,
it's from Declan.
It's a gift. And her mom's like, oh, is he trying to win you back with giant fucking pendants? And she's like, oh, no, he didn't cheat on me. All is well. Bye.
And I think she opens the gift and her mom says like bibbity bobbity boo or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then I think she tries to talk to her about the job. And Holly's just like, I don't want a job. Like, it's so hard for me. Blah, blah, blah. And her mom's like, good to know your superiority complex is alive and well. And then she says, nothing comes for free, Holly J. And she's like trying to like warn her not to have her head in the clouds, but Holly J's like, whatever, I'm gonna get my life paid for. It's fine.
And then her mom says, make sure you pack, we move to the depressing apartment on Sunday.
But then like the next day, Fiona is like, nothing says love like, or wait, no, it's Shantae. She's with Fiona and Shantae is like, nothing says love like a little blue box. But then,
no, that's what Fiona says.
That Fiona says that. And then Shantae is like, you're a gold digger, essentially.
She literally says the word gold digger, but she's like kind of joking. It's a little mean, but like also joking in the way that is Shantae. And then Fiona and Holly J are being like very mean to her back. And then Holly J's like, do you want to meet me for lunch? And Fiona's like, I can't, I have to talk to my decorator. And then Shantae says like, what we're all thinking, which is, you two should hear yourselves.
Yeah, and then walks away. But then Eli like is stalking Fitz, who like just used his fake ID or something, and he calls the cops and is like, oh no, this criminal is about to attack me. And then he like goes and gets in a fight on purpose with him to like seal the deal.
He is diabolical.
He is very calculated.
He's kind of he like is a little bit afraid, like frightening. Yeah. Like I'm a little afraid of him.
It's a little sociopathic.
Yeah.
But then we're at lunch and Declan shows up and he still wants her to go to Yale and he already bought them tickets. And she's like, I have SATs and I'm moving and I don't have time for this.
And he's like, that's boring.
He's like, oh, that's boring. Fine, I'll pay for your moving expenses. And she's like, no, that's not really how it works. Like, I still have the SAT. I can't back out of that.
And then he
says something horrible.
My God. He says, how much will I have to spend before you do what I ask?
It's terrible. And I think she like walks away and is like, goodbye.
Well, then Shantae, who is also my new favorite on this episode, just says, just drop it, Preppy, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And then Holly J's like, leave.
Yeah. Because he's being terrible. So bad.
Like, just nothing like the Declan that we know. Like,
maybe
not even like kind of douchey before dating Holly J Declan. Like, this is worse than like, this is like a totally different human than like Declan who like was banging Jane.
I'm wondering if this is like the Vanderbilt prep influence on him. Like, he doesn't have Holly J with him at school. He doesn't even have Fiona. He's just like in this gross like upper class boarding school prep school world and has gotten sucked into the mentality. Like, maybe I can like afford some of that logic to explain his behavior.
Okay.
I don't know. But he's being a real fucking dick.
He's being a major asshole.
Like a privileged asshole.
Ugh.
And then we're with Eli, who's just getting wailed on. And then
he is taking some hits for this.
The cops get there, and he, like, locks Fitz in. He's like, the cops are here. What are you doing? And he's like, hee. And the cops come. And then they're, like, slammed up against the wall, and they take their IDs. And Fitz is like, like, bet you wish you had a fake. Like, they're not even going to know who I am. And Eli's like, ha, 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 joke's on you.
And Eli, at this point, I was like, he's going to get murdered. Fitz is going to literally murder him.
But then we're with Dave and Sav.
And Sav is being his Yoda, as he has been everyone's the past 2 episodes.
And Dave calls, like,